You leave home by bike, go to the supermarket, start buying some things, and realize that the most you'll be able to carry home is about 10 kilos. That's what fits in 2 bags, because that's what we can hang here on the front handlebar, or maybe tie to a rack in the back. Man, can't we make better use of this cool vehicle? Isn't there a way to carry more stuff on a bicycle? To solve this problem, today you're going to learn how to make a homemade polyvinyl chloride bike trailer. Yes, something extremely easy to make. We did a lot of research and thought that the ideal would be a trailer that could carry 2 of these market boxes. This box is sturdy, standard sized, and great for shopping. You can easily take it from the trailer and store your things in it. In fact, I have several of these, and sometimes I go into the supermarket with the box itself and start putting everything inside it. Basically, you'll need polyvinyl chloride pipes, several connectors, and 2 small bicycle wheels. You can use one from an old bike at home or buy one from a junkyard. I'll just remind you that this project is part of a really cool playlist of 8 videos that we're making to introduce the Manual Maker website to you. We've already taught you how to make this folding table that you can assemble inside an apartment. We taught you how to recycle 3D printer plastic. We made some hangers, and in the last video we showed how to make a vertical garden that waters itself. This website is meant to provide all project details. Today, for example, all the measurements of the polyvinyl chloride pipes, the list of parts you can find there. I won't keep discussing it in this video and bore you, but that's not the main point. The idea is that you can also share your own projects. One person helps, another offers feedback and suggestions, and together we can build a great maker community. And you don't have to pay anything, neither to publish nor to access the projects that have already been published. Let's get started. First step, cut the polyvinyl chloride. First tip, I've always used a hacksaw to cut polyvinyl chloride. It cuts polyvinyl chloride very well. It's quick, but it's very hard to make a straight cut. So if you can use this tool, you'll find this online as a pipe cutter. It's really cool. You fit the polyvinyl chloride here, squeeze it, and it already has this blade. See, you turn it and it makes a perfect 90-degree cut. You can cut aluminum, plastic, copper pipes, and more, absolutely straight. After you've cut everything, you have to sand the ends of the pipes because they're going to go 19 millimeters inside these fittings. And it won't fit if you don't sand it. You can't fit it in. You have to sand it a lot, okay? The glue takes up a little space, so if you sand a bit more, that's fine. So at least I really overdo the sanding because it's much easier to work with. We also need to sand inside the connectors for the glue to stick properly, okay? It doesn't need to be a very heavy sanding, but it's important so we don't have a completely smooth surface. And now, like magic, all the pipes for the project are already cut and sanded. Remember that all the measurements are on the Manual Maker website, okay? I'll show you here, but you should also do this at home if you're building the cart. Lay out the entire polyvinyl chloride setup on the floor before gluing. There you go, this is the layout of the chassis for the bottom part of the trailer, okay? I've already set the pieces exactly as they'll be. So if you notice, there are some T's, these pieces here that are facing down, and there are the T's that are facing up, like these 2 here. That's exactly what we're going to have to do. I'll start gluing, but polyvinyl chloride has a little trick. There are several rectangles here in this drawing, and we can never just keep gluing, forming a rectangle and leave one piece for the end, because that piece won't fit. So what do we have to do? Make one side of the rectangle, make the other side of the rectangle, and then fit the 2 parts together. I have to follow this logic throughout this whole drawing here, okay? So I make this line, I make this line, this line. Then I fit these pieces here on either side of the line, and I keep joining these sets together. It may sound complicated, but it's actually simple in practice. One really great thing about polyvinyl chloride glue is that it bonds immediately. So like 10 seconds after you join one thing to another, you can't take it apart anymore. But that's also a problem because things have to be very well aligned. So think carefully before you apply the glue and join the pieces, because you'll have to do it very precisely. You might find it strange that I'm wearing glasses, gloves, and a mask, but let me tell you, if this gets in your eye, it's highly toxic for us. So don't forget to use protective equipment. Deal. Look at what I told you here. I made one row separate from the other. Now you can check for any misalignment in your work. Here it's not perfectly aligned, but I think that'll be fixed when we assemble it. Ideally, 2 people should do this, since it's hard to keep glue from drying when fitting 4 pipes at once. At least by the boxes, everything is fine here. Let's make that frame for the top part of the trailer. This is an edge that goes on the top part of the trailer. One of its functions is to connect with the bicycle. That will be done by that part up front, by that kind of D-shaped piece over there. I kept it separate because we won't weld it to the rest. It stays loose. One polyvinyl chloride inside the other, secured with a screw. Let's go. See what I said. This piece will just be fitted in, it won't be glued here in the front. The idea is that we can adjust this piece when we put it on the bike, and then I secure it. The next step is to join these 2 parts. This connection will be made with 8 pieces of pipe. First, we attach it to the base. Then we turn it upside down and secure them too since polyvinyl chloride is very flexible and the rods here are long, it's possible to do this and it's much easier to work this way. What I need to do now is build a support to attach the wheel axle. I'll take a piece of pipe about 8 centimeters long and soften it with a heat gun. You can do it with a hair dryer or even in hot water. Then squeeze it in a vise. That will create a flat surface. And I mark 12 millimeters from the end of it, right here inward. I first mark with a thin drill bit, then use a 10 millimeter bit. There are 4 pipes. They're attached to the downward facing tees. There's no real trick when it's time to install the wheel. Since the polyvinyl chloride is flexible, you can fit it inside and then tighten the nuts. If I were watching, I'd already be giving a thumbs up right now, huh? Because look how nice this is. What I need to do here is fit this onto the bicycle, and then we'll do it on our bicycle. Depending on yours, you may need to tweak the measurements, but let's proceed. We'll attach it to the seat post axle. I could just hook a carabiner onto this little metal bar under the seat and that would be fine. But I don't think every bicycle has these little bars under the seat. So we came up with a little system using polyvinyl chloride, which is to install a hook here on this seat post tube. This polyvinyl chloride is 40 millimeters in diameter. Here goes a T-joint. This part is just to reduce its inner diameter. Down here is a little piece to give height to the seat. And here in the front, we're going to put this cap with an eye bolt. Inside, 2 nuts will secure it since we won't be able to access the nut again. I realized that I won't be able to put a nut and a lock nut on the inside of the cap. So I'm going to put a drop of thread locker, which is a special glue to keep the thread from coming loose. If you don't have it, you can use super glue since this won't have much force on it. Now just glue everything together as I showed you. Once the piece is ready, I remove the seat, insert the polyvinyl chloride and replace the seat. Here I adjusted it more or less to the height I use the seat, okay? But if you use the seat lower, you just cut a little bit off this polyvinyl chloride, off this part. But one important thing is that this eyelet shouldn't be close to the wheel. You'll notice when everything is assembled that the pipe can't be too close here, otherwise it will start to rub. This 45-degree elbow will connect to the bicycle. I have a cap in front where I'll add another eyelet. This piece will ultimately attach to the trailer's last remaining T-joint. Look at this. And to hook one thing to the other, I'm going to use a carabiner. It will be attached to the eyelet on one side and the other eyelet on the other side. You may have noticed that the trailer is in a completely wrong position. It's tilted upwards, but that's why we left this front part loose. Now we can adjust it and leave it in the perfect position. I need to adjust this tilt while it's on the bike, since I can't tell the exact position of this part otherwise. If I don't put the bike there, it depends on the bike up front. So, do this on your bike. Make this adjustment after everything is ready. Let's paint before testing. Isn't that a bad idea? If you make a mistake, you'll have to fix it after painting. This is manual do mundo. Of course, we tested this trailer before. It's actually the second one we built. How many kilos do you think this can carry, How? A bag with a sack of rice, a soda, and 2 liters of oil. That's 8.5 kilos. I'll put this 5 kilo canister here. So now I have 13.5. 2 more bottles, 16.5. And this nice 5 kilo weight, which brings it to 21.5. You'll never be able to balance it perfectly, but ideally, the car should be as close to balanced as possible. Wow, it's all coming loose. This isn't good, it came loose. We think those pipes at the end came off because we sanded them too much. No? Lucas was using a pretty aggressive sander, which ended up tapering the end of the pipe. And that reduces its contact area with the fittings. I at least tend to go a bit overboard when sanding. Since we were already building the second one, we rushed things a bit by using the sander. Now I'll have to glue it again.
We had to test it before painting, but you didn't listen to me. Now I'll have to paint the middle pipe there again.
Now let's really test it. And I didn't attach it to the support we made, okay? I attached it directly to the bench because here it ended up being too low. When we brake, this support shifts to the other side, which isn't good. It's going well. We noticed that if the weight is unbalanced, for example, that steel weight I put in is bad because it slips inside the boxes. The trailer starts to sway behind, and that's not good. So one important thing is to secure the weight well, right? And make sure it's well distributed in the trailer. The wheel axle came loose, the screws came out. This wheel here is top quality, as you might have guessed, right? Ideally, use a real bicycle wheel. This one is too weak. It can handle some rough use, but its bearing is plastic. I don't think it's very good in the long run. Ideally, it should be a metal wheel. Back here, I'm going to try to secure it with a little rope. Ta-la! Because that carabiner is leaving too much slack, which isn't good. Every time you brake, that slack keeps hitting. Let's see. With the little rope, I think it'll be much tighter. That's it. With everything adjusted, it's perfect. Conclusion. Then a 7-kilometer ride with the fully loaded trailer. First, this structural part here. This box we made with the wheels is super sturdy. It's all good. The wheels need to be better. These wheels here wobble a bit, the bearing is plastic. Next time I would improve that. You don't need that complex connection to the bike. It's easier if you just tie it directly to the seat with a little rope. It's all good. And these two pipes here are the main weak point. If I were to do it again, I would use either a white polyvinyl chloride pipe, the kind for hot water that's more resistant, or a broomstick, or double this here. Because in the end, this flexibility of the pipe isn't good. When you brake, the trailer comes forward like a spring. Anyway, this needs to be reinforced. But I'll leave that for whoever does the project next time and puts it on the site manualmaker.com. Deal.